What's up, Ravens fans? Free agency is just over a month away, and there's lots of questions about what the Ravens are going to do to upgrade this roster. The first question today comes from Andre Chambers, and Andre wants to know, do we have cap space? This is the list here.
Okay.
Le'Veon Bell, C.J. Mosley, Eric Weddle, Terrell Suggs, Jimmy Smith, za'darius Smith, and probably a free agent receiver and lineman. And we also want to throw in a private jet and a Bentley for each of us.
No, the Ravens don't have enough salary cap space for all of those guys. Let's just look at the biggest ticket items on there. Le'Veon Bell, C.J. Mosley, Jimmy Smith, and za'darius Smith. I expect each of those guys are probably going to be in the $12 to $15 million range. So maybe you can get two of them,
right.
Maybe two of the four, but certainly not four of the four. Mm-hmm. And, you look at a free agent wide receiver, they're not cheap. Look at the market last year. It kind of exploded for wide receivers. This year, there's not a very robust free agent wide receiver market. So I expect the guys who are on there are going to get some pretty good coins. So no, this isn't fantasy football. It's not Madden, all those things. You can't just, you don't have a limitless amount of money to spend. The Ravens are going to, I think, want to retain some of their key players, C.J. Mosley being at the top of that list, and he ain't going to come cheap. He could become the richest inside linebacker. They also still want to retain pieces like even extending a Matthew Judon, like extending some Justin Tucker, some of those pieces. That's going to take up some salary cap space. So they don't have just free money floating around to spend willy-nilly on these other guys.
And something that Eric DeCosta said over and over again during his press conference is that he wants the Ravens to be in a responsible salary cap situation. Signing all of those guys would not put them in a responsible salary cap situation as much as it would be great to see. All right, let's keep it moving here. The next question is, are the players going to be recruiting Le'Veon Bell? Lots of Le'Veon Bell questions. There was kind of the back and forth last week. There was NFL Network's Ian Rappaport who said that this is a deal that could make sense. And then Le'Veon said, hey, okay, kind of responded to that on Twitter with a thinking emoji. And then there was a bunch of players that were doing some kind of social media back and forth. One of them, Lamar Jackson. He started following Le'Veon Bell on Instagram. Tony Jefferson was tweeting at Le'Veon. Eric Weddle was tweeting at Le'Veon. So there was a bunch of guys getting into this, and I think that if Le'Veon does hit the market, there could be some of this recruiting. He seems like a guy that wants to feel the love. That was the indication that he gave.
Especially after what he went through last year.
For sure, absolutely. But here's the thing. Whether there's recruiting from players, they're not the ones that are going to be opening up the checkbook. They're not the ones that are getting into the contract negotiations and saying, give this guy this much money. So I think that that's kind of fun. I think it's more of a social media thing right now. Whether it's going to matter in a month, I don't necessarily think that's the case.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Last question comes from @RavenC, and the question is, how many yards do you think Lamar will pass for in his first full year as a starter? I think Lamar will be right around 3,000 yards. I don't think that Lamar is right now perhaps ever going to be a 4,000-yard guy. I mean, he's just probably not going to throw the ball that much, and when he's rushing for over 1,000 yards, which I don't think is a crazy stretch by any means, that's a lot of yardage to put up total. So Lamar will pass the ball, I think, better in his second year. I don't know that he's going to pass it a ton more, but there will be some more as the Ravens kind of put more on his plate. And, he will make plays with his arm, no doubt, but the Ravens aren't going to say, you're a passing first quarterback when he's so good at maybe the best ever quarterback running the ball.
I think you make a great point. When you're looking at the overall yardage, you got to take the total package. You just can't say, well, he's a 3,000-yard guy. Well, also he had 1,000 yards on the ground.
Yeah, yard's a yard, right? Exactly. Yards move the ball towards the end zone, and the object is to score points.
That's how it works.
That's the point of the game.
That's how it works. Thanks for breaking that down for us. Very good. As always, we love to hear from you guys. That's it for us. We got to move on. We're done today, but as always, sending you those questions using the #RavensMailbag. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.